So in this lesson, I'm going to show you how I can get access to all of these elements, actually traversing through what's available within the DOM. So in the previous lesson, we did query selector all. So we also do have another option. So I'm going to do variable, and so we need a container for that. So maybe we'll do button child nodes, and we're going to do document and get element by ID, and this time we're going to use the name of the parent, which is going to be main, so just this one up here, and we're going to list out all the child nodes that we've got available to us. And it's going to make that a little bit bigger so we're staying on one line. So what we can do now is console logging out, or console directory out, that btn cn, so whatever is contained within that object. Now let's just take a look at what actually gets output here. So see that we've got 9 child nodes that are listed out here. So we've got text. So the first one is we've just got some text within here. And then the next one is actually the button, and then the text and the button, and so on. So let's take a look and loop through all the available child nodes, and we're going to get the names of those nodes. So the next thing we need to do is do what we did before, where we're going to set up our typical loop here, and we're going to loop through while I is less than btn cn length, because again we get that length value by default, and then we need to increment I in order to loop through all the available values. And for this one we're just going to simply console log out, and we're going to pick out the btn cn bracket, got to keep that I within that bracket as we're looping through it, and we're going to list out those node names as they become available. And so essentially we're going to list them all out within the console here. So let's just save that, go back out here and refresh it. So now we see that we actually get the values here listed. So essentially we've got 9 nodes within the list, and they're all listed out here, and we're actually listing out the contents of each one of those 9 nodes that are available to us. So we see, actually I should get rid of this one here because this is adding to some of the confusion. So I'm going to just simply comment those out and refresh this. So again, here's our list of 9 nodes. The first one's text, div, text, div, text, div, text, div, and lastly text as well. And so now we can even take it one step further, so we could do something like if the node name and check to see if it's equal to div, and then if it is, then what we can do is output something. So if it's equal to div, then we're going to output. So I've got some kind of bracket issue here, so just got to make sure I'm closing off these brackets at the right points here. So console logging that out. And I believe I'm still missing one here. Now if I list out the node name, and I could just as easily, instead of the node name, I could just do something like ID, and that would list out all the IDs of every single element there within the loop. And of course we can still go in through and add in event listeners if we wanted to. So if I wanted to, as we're looping through here, I want to add an event listener of a click, and instead of this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to comment this one out so it doesn't actually fire off. And we can use the brand new event listeners that we've added, refresh it, and of course I shouldn't copy and paste that because that's going to be different value. So now we see that we do get that same functionality. So everything is functioning as before, but we didn't actually have to identify every one of these buttons. We came in right from the parent and we picked up all the children, and we saw the ones that were divs. We could have even done something with the class and so on. So there's a lot of information that we can draw out there. So we added in a conditional statement to check to see if the node name's a div. If it is a div, then we add the event listener to that node. And then we get that same functionality as we did before. So again, a number of different ways and a number of different approaches that you can get that same effect where you loop through all the different selected elements and make your selection of your elements within your web page. So in the next lesson, we're going to be looking at how to create elements into the DOM using JavaScript, also update them and append them, and so much more. So that's all coming up in the next set of lessons.